show.
I
Uh,
thought about watching Listeners, and then I decided not to.
don't.
I gave it a strong look at, and I was like, I just don't think we're gonna end up watching this.
I so it's not that great,
Okay.
but I was holding out hope for it. It's just not
Hmm.
going to be that good.
Okay. That's
Um,
unfortunate.
it is because there's some parts where the show actually looks really good, and then the mechs come in, and you're like, how about you just not? Uh,
There's been, well, I guess it's only two of the four things I watched had it, but there was a lot of CG in things I watched this week. And I guess if the mechs were CG
CG.
too, that's another thing with CG.
Two of the things. What show did we both watch had CG? I assume the Ultimate Game had some CG somewhere.
Apartama.
Oh my god!
Apartama was
Just
CG as fuck.
yeah, you're fucking right.
Yeah. It was like the first thing you saw on the show was all of the CG cars.
Right, right. Oh, the cars I think look pretty good. They didn't look
They
too.
looked varied enough and like with enough detail that I think they're good enough, and it doesn't feel like they're going to be the focus of the show. At least they haven't been the focus of the show yet that I get upset when I like they're not force feeding me the cars. So like I'm okay with it.
If anything,
Plus, in addition to the, super nice cars that they saw, we also saw the regular race car, which was like a normal car, like an actually
a car.
hand-drawn animation car. It wasn't a CG car, which was interesting and different.
Maybe because we only see those for like this episode, and then it's just going to be the souped up cars.
Hmm. But
That was CG.
that was most of, yeah. I think that was the only CG thing in Apara Ramon that I remember were the cars. I think all of the boats were also animated, actually. I don't think any of the boats were CG as far as I can recall.
I think the main boat that they ride on, the main little steamboat, the small one. That
Well, yeah, because it becomes their car.
yeah.
But I mean, like, yeah, any of the
It's a,
steamboats when they were sailing into San
L.A.
Francisco, it was LA. Fuck.
Yes,
Um,
totally.
when they were sailing into Los Angeles, then I'm pretty sure they were all like actually animated, not CG'd.
I mean,
So it's
probably
just the cars.
because we only really see one that moves, and the rest is just kind of a background
It's true.
painted
I
in the
think it
background.
was a static image. You're right.
But those are the 8 to 9 shows that I'm watching. Listeners, wow, I liked the premise. I liked the music. I like that
Hmm.
I like shows that kind of have music as its main like driving force.
Uh
Um, fuck everything surrounding it. Everything else is just fucking not that
huh.
good.
How much music did it actually have in it?
There's a lot, from what I'm hearing, like basically every single track was different. And it's like very guitar based instead of the usual like I guess piano based.
Uh
So I just kind of really liked it. It fit with my groove. I was vibing with it.
huh. Okay.
But like, there's nothing else to like about it. Some of the characters are okay, but like the mechs aren't that fucking good. The story is I don't know what the fuck story's about. For some reason, Jimmy's not black. Um, yeah, like there's a very really weird depiction of a gay man in the opening. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
he's like wearing a body like he's wearing like I think he's just wearing like painted on paint, and
Sexy.
he
He's just body paint and that's it.
it's some body paint, and he's like it's a very flamboyant dance he's doing.
Hmm.
And he's got like a mustache. Um,
Okay, so he's a very like stereotypically flamboyant gay man.
yes.
I see.
There's also a gay guy in Kakushigoto too, who owns a suit shop, like a suit store. Suit store. He's a tailor. And there's also a gay person in Wait, Listen to Me.
Suspected to be a gay person. We don't know that he's gay.
I think he's actually just gay. I think
I mean, I did think so too, because in the opening, I
yeah,
noticed
yeah,
that he was
he's got
groping that
okay.
other dude's ass. So I'm pretty sure he is gay, but he
Yeah,
hasn't like
it's
admitted
not
to being
confirmed.
gay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the other character's just suspected because not just in the opening, but apparently in all of his life, he enjoys copping a feel on other dudes.
he enjoys the company of men.
Yeah. Is it still sapphic love if it's a love between two men?
What's sapphic mean?
Uh, it relates to, I believe, the word sappho, which I think is a Greek word implying lesbian relations, but I might be wrong about the origin. But it definitely implies lesbian relations. If you talk about a sapphic relationship, generally you're talking about a love between two women.
There we go. It's two P's.
Yes, Sapphic, I believe.
Formal and or humorous. Um, so, oh my god, the Sappho and Friends subreddit makes so much more sense now. Um,
Glad I could clear that one up for you.
yeah. I thought just Sappho was like some random character. Um, no, it wouldn't be Sapphic because it is specifically women.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe
Interesting. Well, I learned something today, and you learned something today.
everyone learns something. I guess I'll keep that part in. If I'm gonna keep that part in, we should do intros.
All right. Welcome to ABC episode Who Gives a Fuck? Season
94.
another one.
Season 3.
That means Brandon has to come up with a new title or a new background if he ever gets around to editing episodes because we're like 9 behind now. I've noticed.
We're only 2 behind. One's done. I just haven't uploaded yet.
Are we only 2 behind? Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't seen a couple updates then.
So we haven't done it for the last 2-3 weeks because it's the hiatus. We were watching some shows and figure out what the fuck we're gonna watch.
Mm-hmm.
We skipped 1 week. Regardless, there's only 2 episodes left, and I've got one done. I'm gonna upload it tonight, and I'm gonna finish the next one tomorrow.
Okay.
And then I need to figure out. Yeah, I need to do the new title.
But yeah, so this is a new season. We're back with new shows. Today is the first show of the new season, which means we're going to do the rundown of things that we've watched and what we're going to be watching for this upcoming season.
Most likely, because
and possibly maybe something that we won't watch. Although now that we've started ABC, I did want to like bring this up. So reportedly, according to Brandon, he told me this yesterday, Apara Ramban is being delayed
after the
for
3rd episode.
an indeterminable amount of time.
Yes.
Where did you see this before? Like, where did you get this information from?
Fuck, I don't know. I think it was a headline on Reddit.
Okay, because this is not the first time you've told me this, and the last time you told me something was getting delayed, you were flat out wrong.
Wait, what was that one?
I don't remember what show it was, but you told me like, oh yeah, so and so got delayed, and then I looked up like if there was a new episode later that week, and there was a new episode, and I was like, Brandon, where did you see this from? And you're like, oh yeah, I saw a headline on Reddit, and I'm like, dude, you're a fucking moron. It's absolutely a new show, a new episode. This is not the first time you've come to me telling me something's getting canceled.
No, not
So I'm
canceled.
just saying,
delayed.
or not canceled,
Yeah.
delayed. Not the first time you told me something is getting delayed. So we will wait until it actually doesn't have a new episode.
Yes.
Before I agree that it is being delayed.
I should look for a source next time. But for the most part, mostly, I'm right. I was right about Fire Force. Fucking.
You're right about Vinland Saga.
Vinland Saga. The Bubble one. Well,
the Bubble one.
Boogie Pop.
Sarazanmai.
Boogie Pop.
Okay.
Sarazanmai, I don't think it was delayed at all. And fuck, there's another one that I remembered. Shit.
I don't remember it. It must have been a while ago.
It was in the same. Fuck. The one that had promised and fucked it up at the end.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Orisuke.
Oh.
No.
No.
Well, that also fucks it up at the end.
Yes, but that's for different reasons.
That
well,
one
actually,
fucked it.
that's similar reasons. Oh my god.
Was it from last season?
2 seasons ago.
Christ.
About the killer
How can
lady.
I not think of it?
But the whore Babylon. Babylon. There we go.
Oh, Babylon. Yeah, that also fucked it up right at the end.
But
with the whore of Babylon. I like that was the thought process in your mind of how to get to the name of that show. With the killer lady, the whore of Babylon. Oh, that's right. That's literally in the title.
Anyways, that was also delayed, and I was right about that.
It's true.
Another rumor.
There was something else.
Another rumor. There was something else. I don't remember what I was wrong about. There's another rumor, and this is specifically about something yesterday to me, and that is that it's actually 18 episodes and not 12 episodes, and that this last 6 are exclusive to the streaming service that has the extra little bits at the end.
Oh, in Japan?
Yeah.
I wonder how long it will take for that to be pirated and fan translated in English.
It could still. So just because in Japan it might just be exclusive to the streaming platform and no TV.
Right.
I think Funimation might still be getting Funimation or whoever's getting it might still actually get the episodes and release them.
I mean, maybe. It is hard to say just based on like we don't know what the distribution agreement is,
Yeah.
and we have no idea like how distribution to English platforms work for anime. I
Mm.
hope that they would come to America, or not to America, but into an English, website so that we could see it. Because not being able to see 6 episodes is way more upsetting than not being able to see like an extra 1 to 2 minutes of show.
Well, even if it is an extra 1 or 2 minutes, apparently like it's all from the manga. It's not like original. The actual chapters from the manga. Well, bits and pieces from the manga.
Pages.
Yeah, pages.
Okay. I
It
mean, I'm not surprised that it's
yeah.
not original stuff, and like we could still read it if we could read the manga, which you can because it's translated in Spanish but not in English.
Usually,
Uh,
though, some fans will translate and upload to Reddit, which is
okay.
how I've been watching them.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they're only like 1 or 2 minutes long, 2 minutes long, and they usually get to the top page.
Um, but yeah, if they have 6 full episodes that don't make the jump across the ocean, that would be kind of upsetting.
Yeah, it's gonna make you jump across the ocean in one way or another.
Yeah,
They just won't be happy about one of those ways.
yeah. If they don't sell it to us, there will be piracy.
Yo ho ho,
I'm not
fiddle
saying
with me.
that we engage in piracy here on ABC. We're a morally upstanding podcast, but other people would.
That cough wasn't to implicate anything. I was
No.
actually just coughing. But
Brent's actually sickly.
I think it's just pollen. I don't fucking know. We'll find out if I'm still alive next week. Let's run it down with the part one first then,
All
because
right.
we both liked it. I think, and we both wanted to watch it. And I
I would say
hope
so.
that the rumor is wrong. Honestly, like I don't want it to get delayed.
Yeah.
But yeah, a Pararanmon, aka Senku, rides across America.
Yeah, Senku set in early 1900s America. Also, one of the only shows that I've ever seen set in it. There are very few shows set in America, and very few shows set in America are set in a time frame where us like you just know that there should be way more racism than there is. This is one of the first shows I've ever seen where like the white people are as racist or slightly less racist than I would expect them to be.
Right.
Like they were actually thrown out like your people don't belong here kind of things that I was like, for old-timey white people, this is what I expect. I mean, it makes me feel bad inside. My white guilt was very strong, but I mean, culturally, it is correctly set.
It
The
seems
people are as
yeah.
douchebaggery as I expect them to be.
It seems like there's like a wide range of ethnicities and cultures too, because we've got the native kid, we've got
Hmm.
the two Japanese kids, we've got the Chinese girl, um, and I think we've got like a European guy.
Yeah, we possibly have some sort of European. I won't say that he's French, but he's using a rapier, which is a very French weapon.
Yes,
Uh,
we've got the black
and we
dude.
also have, yeah, a white guy who's very angsty and a black dude who's very, why are all black dudes in anime like very hip hoppy?
And super colorful. That guy's so fucking cool.
Because there was that guy and there was the spider from Megalobox who was also that same like
The spider
super
was Latin
colorful.
American.
Oh, he was Latin American.
Yes, I think he's
He's very
Mexican.
dark skinned for Latin American.
He could have been Dominican. Um,
I mean, you're absolutely right because I remember now he had like the whole Dia de los Muertos thing going on
yeah.
in his walkout.
And then he immediately fucking bites it.
Yeah, fucking throws like 2 punches and then eats 1 punch and
I think it
dies.
was against the lion, right? The lion guy.
No, it was against Yuri.
Was it Yuri?
Yeah,
Oh, right. Because Joe goes against the lion.
yeah,
Right. Okay.
against the lion who is supposed to be American but can't properly speak English.
Which is weird because
There
they had
is
it. Because they had
that Joe man
yeah. Because they had a Spanish speaker like do the voice for what's his face
for the spider.
for the spider. Yeah. There was
I
a
think
lot
we
of
talked
weird
about it back
Spanish in that show for some reason that I noticed.
I mean, did he sound correct mostly?
If I remember right, I think I looked through the credits at some point and it was a Spanish dude
Okay.
or someone who spoke Spanish.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's actually like a lot of like Spanish text in the show. Like, do you remember the rosary? I think in that scene there's also like a Spanish text on the rosary.
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I did not notice that.
I don't know because
I remember the lion when he came in. He was like,
Yeah,
he
speaking
spoke English, but he spoke it with like a weird
Oh,
enunciation
right,
pattern.
right. Like the individual words words was English. So I'm like, okay, these. If you had said like these individual words without context, I would believe someone was English. Like, hey, read this word out. Now read this word out. Now read this word out. Right.
Mhm.
But when he spoke it as a sentence, I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it
Then
was very like Microsoft Sammy, where it was
yeah,
like dun 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 dun, and like you're just like that didn't that what like all of the words were the right words in the right order, but it just wasn't a sentence
I
when you got to the end of it.
that may have been an issue with the direction of like how to say the words.
Yeah,
But
I
we're
think
getting
the
off track.
suspicion was of like the conspiracy theory that I read at somewhere was that they just needed somebody who could speak English who wasn't necessarily a trained voice actor, as they just hired some like temp dude who was like, "You can speak English, right? All right, just
Hey,
say these lines. We don't care how you say them."
go get the white intern.
Yeah,
Go get the white devil.
that was the conspiracy theory that I read, which
Okay.
makes sense because it definitely sounds like somebody who doesn't have like proper voice acting like experience, so they don't know how to properly say it. Like as soon as you start thinking about like how do I say words, you start to have that awkward like cadence of like what am I doing? How does my mouth work?
Right, it did come off as very self conscious.
Yeah,
But that's a completely different fucking show from 2 years ago.
it's true.
But goddamn, go watch Michael Box.
It was
Um,
very good. But in this show, we have yes, the racist 1900s people, but we also have our two Japanese people, and the entire first episode set in Japan.
yes, where we get very intimately get to know red-haired Senku. Actually, don't. Oh, his name is fucking Apare.
Apare,
God, I'm
yeah,
an idiot.
his name is Apare, and we also meet a samurai dude whose name is starts with an H, and I think
Hoshi? Just call him Samurai Dude.
maybe,
Guy with a
but
sword.
yeah, guy with sword, samurai dude.
Who really wants to get married.
Yeah, and we get introduced to a whole bunch of characters who will never come up again.
Yeah, we get introduced to Apare's parents. I
Hmm.
think he has a brother and a sister.
A brother and a sister who are both
Um,
older than him.
we meet the samurai guy's little sister, and his father, and his like the mayor equivalent
Yeah,
chief guy.
the
Um,
lord of the town, I guess.
yes, and he's basically
Even though
wants.
it's set in, I believe, the Meiji era.
Sure, I
I'm
don't.
just basing this. This is purely based on my Rurouni Kenshin knowledge. I know that after the Tokugawa era, in Rurouni Kenshin, it was the Meiji era where they started like basically having samurais turn in their katanas and be like, "Yeah, swordsmanship is a dead art. Like, there's no point in it. You have to not carry your swords around anymore."
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
assuming that this follows. I'm assuming that that timeline is accurate and that the Meiji era comes after the Tokugawa era. So I'm assuming this is now set in the Meiji era, which is why when he comes to America, he was talking about like they were
You're
telling me to
right.
give up my swords
Yeah.
because yeah, it's the turn of a new era kind of thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which
Um,
also falls in line with the timeline of like early 1900s, late 1800s, I believe.
it's supposed to be early 1900s, at least for this specific
It
show.
is okay.
Yeah, I think it's
I
like
was pretty sure it
1920s.
was because we saw like a whole bunch of different models of cars, not just the Model T, which would imply it was more like 1910s rather than like
Hmm.
1890s.
Um,
Um, but yeah, we have all of the first episodes set in Japan as we see Apare and some of the fallout from his experiments as he apparently busted down some dude's wall and destroyed his garden
he
with
made a fucking
his
rocket.
steam. Yeah, he's the steam rocket that he made. As he breaks himself out of jail and goes home, gets yelled at by his parents,
Says, "Okay, cool, I'm
or
leaving." Then kills one of his boats
leaves.
and leaves. This entire time, the samurai guy has to like basically control him, or like handle him. He has to become a part of his handler,
Mhm.
and then he gets stuck on the boat, and they go to America.
Yeah, drift out to sea, spend 8 days in the sea with no food or water except from the rain,
I thought they
and
caught a
then
fish at some point.
maybe they caught a fish at some point. I mean, you could definitely survive 8 days without food. I think.
I think, yeah, it's like the 3-3 rule: 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, 3 months without something else.
Nope. 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, three
Oh,
weeks without food.
okay. I stepped a little too
Yeah,
far
you
there.
start at the wrong. Yeah, the start at the wrong level.
I started at the wrong order of magnitude.
You're going 3 months without. You're trying to think of what could I not live without 3 months with? My phone, the internet. Yeah, no. 3 minutes without air.
I got two of
But then
them right
aside,
though.
you did get two of them right, and you got the important one right, which is 3 weeks without food. They only had to survive 8 days when they are rescued by some sort of ship. It's sort of
Steamship,
unclear as to what type of ship it is. I mean, it's definitely a steamship, but I'm saying like
cargo.
Okay, it's a cargo ship. Okay,
Yeah,
I
because
couldn't really tell if it was like a navy ship without flags or if it was a passenger ship without passengers.
in the second, well, I don't. It might be a passenger ship or a cargo ship. Because in the second episode, the captain talks about how they're going to ship out to the Panama Canal.
Hmm.
I assume because they're shipping something, or
Yeah,
because they're shipping passengers over.
that
One or
would
two,
make
either
sense.
or.
They could be some sort of trade ship that also carries people. Um, but yeah, so they get a ride on the ship and get brought to the town of Los Angeles, way back before it was an important place to live, and it's actually just a fucking hellhole, which is really what it is today. But that's beside the point.
Oh, Los
Um,
Angeles. Um,
so they land in Los Angeles and have no money and only speak Japanese, and yet somehow are able to integrate with society.
in this case, like that's so you just just
Yeah,
throw up in there, like
just
whatever.
hand wave away the fact that
Yeah.
they only really speak Japanese, but everybody can understand them in Los Angeles. Um, but while they're there, they have to find a way to basically make money so they can
Survive.
survive. So they start up this little come and fight me if you can with the samurai, and people try and take a swing at him to see if they'll hit him, which I assume is sort of like a carnival game where if you do hit him, you get to like win your money back plus like a 2 to
The
1
pot,
odds sort of
maybe.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but basically he can't be hit because he's good at what he does and he was trained as a warrior, so nobody's
His
able to hit him
samurai
and they
sword's
make
been
it.
folded 1,000 times.
Yeah, sure. Doesn't have to use the samurai sword. He just uses stick,
His
the
stick
best
was
weapon.
folded 1,000 times.
Yeah. But at the end of it, he's got a nice little purse of change, and on the walk back, they see a
The
whole bunch
race,
of
the
yeah.
racing arena, racetrack. I'm a fucking idiot again.
Well, they see the Batmobile, don't they?
Was it the Batmobile? I guess so. It's the mobile of the one. I guess he's an American guy with the two guns on his chest.
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy.
who's being financed by I don't remember what it's called, but it's like Great Motors or something like that. It's
Oh
it's
yes,
basically
it's
definitely
GM.
not GM.
Yeah.
Yeah. As they are financing the Great American Race, or the Trans American Race, as it's called in this world, where you're driving from Los Angeles all the way to New York, and the pot is $1.5 million or something to that effect.
Fun fact: this is the plot of the seventh JoJo.
Really?
Yes.
I believe, if I'm not incorrect about my American history, there was actually a race like this called the Great American Race at one point.
That's probably why there's like multiple things that kind of not reference it, but pay homage to it,
Uh huh.
like the seventh part of JoJo and this show itself, and also Wacky Races, I guess.
Presumably,
This show's Wacky Races, but anime.
it absolutely is. See, I haven't seen those cars yet. This is absolutely the power races
And
because
sorry, go ahead.
once we arrive at the arena, we get to see our Batmobile in all of its glory as he extols the virtues of its absolutely impossible to be built in this time frame engine. And we see the guy get out of the car, and he's the classic broody anti-hero, sort of like, if you've got any questions, talk to that man over there. Don't talk to me, I'm the hero sort of look.
I hope he gets shot.
You want him to get shot?
I do want him to get shot.
I mean, at the end of the latest episode, he looks like he's not a bad dude.
I mean,
Maybe.
it doesn't stop me from wanting to get shot.
I mean, it's true. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But from what we saw in the opening, he's not the only dude with weapons.
There's a lot of
There's a
guys
lot
with
of
weapons.
bad men and bad ladies in this race.
Is
And
it
then
there
there's
only one
also
lady?
red-haired Senku with a swagway.
Oh my god! Right, this way. That's like, wait.
His fucking swagway is the best thing.
Well, hold on. Isn't there? There's only one chick that's actually in the race, and that's the Chinese girl. Uh,
Yes,
Shaolin.
there
Shaolin.
was one other Shellin. I forget what her first name is.
Jing.
It starts with a J. Yeah, Jing, I think.
Jing Shaolin.
Jing Shellin. But there was also the other lady that we saw like off in the crowd in the first episode, who's like wishing them all good luck.
Oh,
Who presumably is friends with some of them.
I think friends with the one European dude. I think that's who she was talking to. Maybe kissing her. I thought she was kissing someone.
Well, we also see her interacting in either the opening or the ending. American Child.
Okay. Well, speaking of Jing Shaolin, we also meet her at the racetrack. She wants to become a racer, but she can't because she's a woman, and this is 1920s America, and she's also Asian. There's a lot of things not working for her right now in 1920s America.
Yes.
And because she just wants to race a lot, she actually, in the dead of night, is racing on the track and uh, 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 borrowing air quotes one of the cars,
Yes.
which for some reason Apare decides to go out into the middle of the track to get a lamp and just
Mm.
decides not to look both ways. Look both ways, kids. Just fucking do it.
Yeah,
Which
seriously.
basically which ends up having her swerve out of the way and hits the wooden fence because
Yeah.
this is 1920s America. That car is totaled.
Not just that. Okay, so this is also 1920s America in a 1920s racing automobile. If that thing had to make that very sharp turn to avoid hitting that child, those things were death traps. She would be dead. That thing would have done like 19 cartwheels
Yeah,
and killed her.
but we can't have her die just yet because she's the best girl, and also because I don't know, we can't have her
Yeah.
death in the second episode. Um, so she's still alive. The car's broken down, and she I think starts complaining to the samurai guy who is apologizing to her, and she tells him the whole story about why she can't be a race car driver. And Apar's just looking at the car.
Yeah, he's being Senku with the engine.
Yep. He's more of
Um,
he's a much more stoic Senku. Senku actually had like a mischievous kind of side to him, which that's why I really liked him.
uh-huh.
Apari seems more of like a Senku copy, just not as good.
Apari is Senku with like 18 dashes more autism.
I didn't
Where
want to say
Senku
that
is
word.
I mean, he is though, because
Yeah.
where Senku was very like personable to an effect. Like Senku has definitely had like a good natured interaction with a lot of characters. Maybe not good natured, but like he had a good interaction with a lot of characters. Apare just doesn't really give a shit about people.
Yeah.
He's very focused on what he wants to create and the engines and the steam and all of that and how it all works. And the people side of things is sort of very secondary. They're just the means to the end when he has questions about how exactly something is,
Yeah.
what size of the engine is, how far can it go,
Does it
things like
take
that.
gas?
He doesn't really care that much about people. But he does care a lot about the engines and he knows a lot about it. So while Shaolin and the samurai talk to each other about her past and her desire to become a racer and what it means to be part of a team and all of that, Apare does his thing and works his magic on the engine and fixes it. We obviously don't know this until the next day as Shaolin arrives at the
Apologizes
racetrack,
about
apologizes and says, "I've wrecked the car." And the racetrack manager looks at her like she's crazy and basically says, "Hey, look at it. It's running better than ever. You just dreamed all that. We wouldn't let you race." Haha, ladies racing. Good joke. Um,
and then
and so she has an idea of that Apare kid did something. And so clearly when they told her we're gonna join the Great American Race and race for $1 million because, I want to do something that no one else has ever done. She now has the idea of maybe Apare is actually as good as he claims. Maybe he can build a car for her to race in as well.
I wonder if the prize money was actually $1 million for the Great American Race.
I really doubt it.
Right? It had to be like $10,000 or some shit like
Yeah.
that. Because
It's probably fucking like you're gonna win a house in Alaska.
maybe this was the reason for the Black Tuesday. Was it Black Tuesday?
Maybe.
It was Black Tuesday, right? That was the start of the Great
The
Depression?
beginning of the Great Depression? I
Yeah,
believe
okay.
so.
Which is kind of weird because now when we use the term "in the black," that's when you make a profit,
That's true.
as
It is a
opposed
little
to
bit
in
of
the
an odd
red.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although when I was still at Best Buy, they would make us say "in the green." They're trying to change it.
For when you've made a profit or when you're behind on
So
money.
whenever they were talking about like how our stocks were doing, they would always say "in the green" instead of "in the black," which is normally what it was historically called,
Hmm.
just because they don't want to get sued by black people.
Ah, okay. To be fair, I mean, while
Yeah,
in the
it's not a
black is
dumb
like the historically
reason.
correct way, yeah, it's green like money. I definitely understand where they're coming from.
In fact, like, I understand green better than I understand like "in the black." Like I don't know where "in the black" came from, but "in the green," like
Right.
yeah,
It's just
green makes
something that you
money.
know. Yeah.
It follows. I'm just gonna not finish that thought. I'm just gonna continue. Basically, the episode ends around there. The samurai guy asks why he fixed the engine. He says, "I just wanted to fix the engine," and the episode ends.
And then we have the third episode where
Wait, third episode.
second episode?
That was the second episode. Yeah, that was the end of the second episode, and that's all we have.
No, we have we skipped over the native kid being beaten
Oh
in
my
the
fucking
alley.
god! Yes, you're right.
The samurai
We
come
meet
in
the native
raising
kid
swords.
when our two heroes are like eating like at a diner, and we meet
Hmm.
him there. He's looking for some guy with a tattoo because presumably he killed his father. That's the Prince of Bride reference. Um, just a different symbol.
Yeah,
And at the
it's not
end,
a man with 6 fingers; it's a man with a tattoo on his
yeah,
neck.
and at the end, a bunch of like three white adults are just beating on this kid.
Yes,
First,
very 1910s America.
um, uh, samurai guy goes and tries to help. He's got some weird. He's fixated on
PTSD
something. Yeah.
flashback from the
So
gun that gets pulled on him.
the gun.
And
Oh,
just as the guy goes to pull back or pull the trigger and kill the samurai, a shot rings out and the gun flies up in the air. And we see that not Batman has arrived with his two front guns, front of his chest guns. What an awkward fucking place to have your handguns, by the way.
um,
Like if you're
yeah.
going for like a gun that you can easily draw, it's
It's
so
the
high
hip.
up that
Yeah.
like drawing that is fucking
Yeah. By
awkward.
the time you get to your chest, like you've already been shot like two or three
Yeah.
times.
And to draw it out, like you have to bring the gun like up and out of the holster, and like there's just not that much more up in my arms. Like I can sort of awkwardly like rip it off of my chest, but like it's a
See,
very awkward motion.
maybe those are decoys. You don't. He doesn't actually use those guns. He's actually got two guns like on his holster on his belt. Those are decoys. So when you see him, you're gonna think, oh, he's gonna have a very slow reaction time because he's gonna go aim for his chest, and by that point, you've been shot, boy. Bang, bang, bang. You
He
fell
actually
for the
just has
decoy.
it's one of those guns that like dispenses from inside of his sleeve just straight into his hand.
Yeah. Well, those guns in his chest are actually little water guns. They just say bang.
He's very Joker-esque in that way. But no, in this case, his guns do shoot bullets as he shoots the gun right out of the bad racist man's hands and saves our samurai because they're being loud and they're killing his buzz
Yeah,
because he's angsty.
that's the only reason I'm helping you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna walk away
I was
now.
busy drinking in the dark corner of a bar by myself. You guys were disrupting that, so I had to step in and be not Batman. I mean, it is a very Batman thing to do. Get involved in a fight in a dark alley just because. It's a very Batman reason.
Dun, dun, dun. But yeah,
So I'm going to stand by, continue to call this man Batman because he drives a Batmobile, which that car was absolutely the Batmobile. It was all black with the long front and the little tiny like cab for the driver. That was the fucking Batmobile,
uh,
and it was armored.
I prefer the car with eyes. The bright purple pimp car.
That had a sound system in it.
Yeah. Oh my god, it did.
Did you notice? Yeah, the only car with the sound system was the Black Dude's car. This was the only car that had a fucking sound system. I was gonna bring this up,
Oh god,
because when fuck, I don't remember his first name anymore. There's a racer in the F1 circuit. His last name is Hamilton. I forget his first name at the moment. He drives for Mercedes though. He's one of the greatest He's one of the best racers in the world. But when he first joined the circuit, several years ago now, it's been like 6 or 7 years. When he first joined the circuit, because F1 is a very like white people sort of sport. When like, because like at the beginning of every race, they like go down the pit boxes and show you like the drivers and their cars that they like stand next to their cars, and it's very much like that dude owns a horse, that dude owns an estate, that guy went to private school, and you get to Hamilton, he's the only black guy, and you're like, wow, that man stands out against all of these people. When he first joined the circuit, some people unironically were like, is he going to put a sound system in his car?
oh no.
Is he going to be the only driver with the stereo? And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, guys, are you serious right now? I mean, it's a very like Richie Rich sort of sport. I mean, the cars cost like fucking several
Right? Don't they have to
hundreds
like
of
technically
millions of
pay for it
dollars.
themselves?
Technically, kind of. I mean, they do have like corporate sponsors. Like
Yeah.
Mercedes sponsors two drivers, so like Mercedes chips in a huge amount. Like they have Mercedes basically hires out like the whole,
Pit crew.
like construct like building of like
Okay.
the actual F1 vehicle. Like is all done by engineers. The drivers don't actually do a lot of the proper like building of the car. But they do work with the team to actually like make it better, as they like talk to them about like what's not going wrong and stuff like that. But that aside, I just wanted to bring that up because again in this we see that trend continuing of black people and their need to have stereo systems in their cars apparently because Apart Ranman continues that and the tradition as The only guy with the stereo system was our guy in our black man in his bright pink purple or his bright pink pimp car.
You think like you'll have vinyls in there? Like, how else are you gonna use the sound system?
That is a good question. Maybe the sound is just non-diegetic.
I want to see him like put in a vinyl. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully this show continues. Hopefully I'm wrong about the rumor. I will
Mhm.
actually look up after this show to see if it's right or wrong. I may or may not put a little link to it here. I'm not.
Probably
Let's
not.
move on. That was a part round one.
Brian never does external fucking edits to this to ABC.
Uh, Next up
That
is what?
that was a Par Ramon.
Yeah,
So now we have what do you want to talk about next?
Namio Kitakure, aka Wave. Listen to me.
All right. We begin Wave Listen to Me with basically a in media raise, would you say?
Yeah, it's in the middle of things.
Okay.
Because this is like after she's gotten her job, and this is like during her actual show,
Hmm.
and this, and even like when I was actually looking at the comments at Reddit, this chapter in the manga itself, this doesn't go in this direction or this way. We actually start out halfway. We skip this part basically. We start at the
Oh,
actual
okay.
start. So this is actually
Hmm.
a later chapter put in the middle, in the front, to kind of give the
Okay.
viewers like a taste of what the show is going to be about,
Uh-huh.
as it starts and places all the blocks
At some
everywhere.
point.
Yeah,
At some point we haven't gotten to yet.
right. Because right now we're still kind of setting everything up, setting up um, like inklings of drama, of drama between some of the characters,
Hmm.
setting up relationships, setting up the fact that our main character is a complete fucking mess, which I fucking love her, and
I'm not
all that
surprised.
stuff.
I do
But
just want to point out though, yeah, for like we watched Evangelion, and for all of the like Shinji getting the mech memes, it has been 3 fucking episodes of this show, and we have not done another like show yet. We did one like 5 minute bit, and that was it. We had the first episode, and then we've had 2 full episodes now without doing another radio show.
right,
So like for everything of this show, like this is what the show is about. We haven't actually gotten to what it's about yet. We had 2 episodes, and we haven't actually gotten there.
three. Oh, I guess if you're kind of the first one, then we did get what it's about.
Yeah. I mean, in the first one, we get this is
The
the
bear
show. Like the
story.
first half was this is the bear thing, and that took about half of the episode, and the other half of the episode was her first show as she goes slightly crazy.
Slightly.
Um, from that point, we have not gotten another radio show. We've just gotten her and her horrible life, and gotten her fired from her job, and found out that she's more of a mess than she thought, and I mean, like, it's just been all downhill, but we haven't gone and done the radio show, which is the only thing that I'm watching the show for, is for the radio stuff. Like, I don't care about how much of a mess this girl is. I got it. I got it in the first 5 minutes of the show, and at this point, they're just beating the dead horse.
Okay. I got into the show because I like the main character. That's why I've been following it. What it's about is more secondary to me.
I mean, it's the main character is good. Like, she's a compelling character, but like, for example, the festival thing where they like do they open up the curry station
soup.
and they talk about the curry soup and the old
Sausages.
master and how the guy got better than him, so they don't use the master soup. It's like a 5 minute fucking scene that doesn't fucking matter. Like, there was no point to that scene existing. It didn't further anything. All we did was learn about the soup and the fact that the master soup is now shit and nobody uses it. And we talked about the dude and like this whole backstory that doesn't matter. Which, by the way, was also a minute scene earlier in that episode where we got to the backstory of how the master trained in the ways of curry, or the owner of the store trained in the ways of curry soup from his master, and about the master's kid who ran away and how they're going to bring him back during this whole like summer food stand thing and putting the name of the temple on it or whatever the fuck it is. It's like 6 or 7 minutes of show that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from because there is no payoff to this storyline. The
Yeah,
payoff is the guy in the background looking at them, and then we cut away.
yeah, that's it. And the two characters being able to interact about, honestly, I don't even remember. It may have been something like tangentially important about the fact that she was about to lose her job. Was like the most important thing of that whole scene, and I've forgotten what it was. Because ultimately she loses her job, and that was the most important thing of that episode. And then like the actual relevant thing of their relationship, doing this whole show somewhat out of order, was then the scene after she loses her job where they talk about the fact that, oh yeah, like if you ever get, like, oh, you can come live with me, and oh, I sleep naked too, and you're a fucking pervert, don't stay away from me until I'm desperate and I need your help, and then I'll come find you again. Like that was actually like sort of okay, like that was a good scene, it was sort of relevant things, it's stuff to talk about in the radio show, like I understand why that scene exists. There's just there are moments in these episodes so far that like maybe there is payoff to somewhere down the line when we start the radio show. But as of right now, I could probably go back and find 10 to 15 minutes of show in 3 episodes that has been pointless. And like the fact that I can find in a total of about an hour of the show so far, I can already find 10 to 15 minutes of the show that is utterly pointless and without like proper payoff, and just is all for one like slapstick gag that maybe didn't land or maybe did land. Like it's sort of a disappointing thing to say like a fourth of your show so far has been pointless chaff. It's like I think there's a fundamental problem with the direction of this show if there's that much already in this show that I can say like it's pointless.
Okay.
At the same time, we are getting to the radio show, and so maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there will be payoff to all of it starting the radio show. Maybe I just won't care once we start the radio show. I probably won't care once we start the radio show because the part with the bear and the part in the first episode where she does the radio show were good. I really enjoyed it. Like having her actually do things and interact and like be loud and obnoxious is the good parts of the show. It's just there's a lot of other parts to get through that I don't care about.
Okay, I see.
Or at least they haven't given me a reason to care about it.
Right. Um, yeah, I guess I have nothing to add to that. I guess is the way to put it.
I mean, you can go against me if you think I'm wrong.
No, because like I do actually understand where you're coming from. It was like when you explain it that way, it is. Right now there is no payoff, so like sure it can be at least somewhat enjoyable while you're watching it, but it doesn't go anywhere.
And like there are definitely some moments that I can hope for a payoff that I can imagine.
Right. Like,
so, for example, like the part we were talking about in the beginning, where the fact that the owner of the curry shop may possibly be gay, is something that I can see coming up again.
That could be something that she talks about later on.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual chunk of the show, well, at least what we hope is the chunk of the show, which is her show, her in-show show, has yet to actually start. And I think we're getting it with the next episode, maybe most likely. At the end of the third episode, she's now living with one of her new coworkers, I guess.
Yeah.
And the producer, I guess he's a producer, has said, we're going to hire you on for the show. It's going to be every day at 3:30 a.m.
Yep.
I don't know what Eastern time it is. I think it's like 10 hours behind. Anyways.
What? Where Japan is relative to us? No, they're ahead of us. They're across the international date line from us. They're ahead of us.
Oh.
They would be, I believe it's 10 hours ahead.
Okay, I guess I flipped the negative sign.
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
I'm not the best at time zones.
I don't know time zones either.
They're either 9, 10, or 11. I'm pretty certain they're in one of those 3 time zones, but that's a very wide range of possible times.
So aside from the story issues, how do you like the characters? Because we've been introduced to a fair number, like around 8 characters that I think we're going to see recurring over and over again. Like her original coworker, the blonde-haired guy, faux hawk thing. The younger girl, her like other co-star, I guess, the producer, the other manager dude, and the soundboard guy. The soundboard guy is kind of funny, at least to me. His quips in the first half of the first episode, where he's like under his breath, he's like, "Oh goddamn, this is gonna be a bitch to mix this stuff." He's like pressing all the fucking buttons, as well as her original boss, the chef. How do you like them so far?
I mean, they're good. It goes back to my problem with the show, is that like you were saying, the sound mixers guy and like his little quips under his breath and all the things that he had to say, like as they were trying to create the sound to the story that they were telling in the background of her complaining. They're compelling. We just haven't gotten them again. We interacted with him one other time in the car, where all we really learned about him was that he's very stoic and doesn't really care that much about this girl, it feels like right now.
And
Which
also,
makes sense. They only just met.
that our main character is really thirsty for a rich guy.
Yeah. Um so like that's just him though. Most of the other characters are interesting. They're an interesting mix of like a character that they're definitely setting up to be a character to talk about on a radio show. So like they're characters with archetypes and like very out there sort of
Like
components to
her
their
downstairs
characters.
neighbor.
Her downstairs neighbor who definitely has some weird shit going on with his life.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think the first part of the third episode, he's like praying in like this little altar in his house. This is also the neighbor where she, every single time she gets blackout drunk, she accidentally always goes into his house because. Oh wait, no. Yes.
yes,
Every,
she crashes into his house.
I was gonna
And
make
then
a
he
quip
carries
about
her upstairs.
how like he should just lock the door, but he does do that. He locks the door.
He
She just
does.
makes a fucking noise. He always just keeps
Yeah, she
bangs the
bangs
door.
the door and cries until he lets her in.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, there's definitely his house is like cursed or some shit.
Yeah, there's blood coming down from the fucking ceiling.
Yeah,
Like
it's
ugh.
very bad.
Um, I think so there was also that couple that we had that were fighting. They might be something. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I feel like it's teasing something.
We see the boyfriend, but not his face. We sort of just see it like
Right?
it's not in
Wasn't
shadow,
that the
but like
couple?
you can't see his eyes. I don't know if they were fighting. I don't know if I would say they were fighting. Like
Okay.
the girl just looks at him and she's like,
Okay,
"Huh,
but he was
your
with the girl,
name
right?
from that place."
Okay. All right. So we are thinking of the same scene. Okay, I thought they were
Yeah.
fighting. Okay.
I don't know if I would call it fighting. Like it wasn't like a screaming
Right.
thing or like a "Are you cheating on me?" or "This girl says you're a piece of shit" or something like
Yeah.
that. Like she was just
Are you
she's
actually a
more
piece
made
of
like
shit?
she's been one of those observations. It was definitely the prelude to a fight.
Yeah.
It was definitely one of those things like whenever somebody says that to me in that same tone of voice, in my head, what plays is that scene from that '70s show where Red goes, "Oh, is that what we're doing today? We're fighting?
Fighting.
Okay." Like that's definitely what that tone of voice said was, "Oh, we're fighting today? Okay." Um,
Okay. So that.
but yeah,
So
like
I think the ex-boyfriend is definitely gonna come back at some point.
I think so too. The fact that we couldn't see his face now means I think that it's supposed to be like a surprise at some point, but I'm sure he'll show up again at some point.
But why is it supposed to be a surprise? I don't think we know them yet. Oh, whatever.
I mean, I'm assuming it's because like he'll show up and like interact with other characters, maybe.
Oh,
I
and
don't
then
know.
we don't know. Okay. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I can see that.
Um, but from for the other characters that we've seen, like they definitely have those archetypes or like character traits that make them, good to talk about in the context of like telling a story on a radio show, of like the guy who runs the curry store who's gay and likes to fondle men's back or
But
fondle men's butts. Wow, I could not actually produce the end of that
yeah,
sentence for some reason.
her coworker who sleeps nude.
Yeah, her coworker sleeps nude and wants to take
Bang
advantage of her possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who's sort of a degenerate because he's willing to be called Nude Boy. Um, or Nude, was it Nude Boy or Nude Dude? I think it was Nude Dude. I think
It
I
was
rhymed.
nude dude, and he asked for a different name, and
Yeah.
she gives him a different name, but it's equally as bad. He's like, that's better, I guess.
Yeah, it was like an amalgam of Nude Dude, so he was like, Nudid would basically be like the English
Nudie.
equivalent of what he was. Yeah. But, yeah, like, they're definitely interesting characters, and they're designed to be interesting for, telling good stories in a radio show sort of thing. I think it's just right now it's a moment of more characters than we've had time to explore. So like we know bits and pieces about some of the characters, but not very much about some of the other characters. Like
Right.
what's going on with the other radio show host who we may or may not see again.
The shorter-haired girl.
Yeah,
Most likely, we are gonna see
not
her
the
again.
assistant director, the one
Yeah,
we
the
wrote
one
in
that
on
actually has a
first.
show.
Yeah,
She seems like she's gonna be a foil to our main character.
she seems like it because it had that very like that moment of like that menacing smile, and at the same time, I'm like, but your lips say I'm happy to help her. So like, are you gonna be a friend? Are you gonna be a dickhead? I mean, she already has a show at 3:30 in the fucking morning. Like, how much more shafting over does she need at this point?
But yeah,
It's not like she's
she
coming
had
in to
those
poach your
eyes.
primetime spot.
Her
She
mouth
did,
said, "I'm gonna help you." Her eyes said, "I'm gonna fucking kill you."
yeah. So like it's a very weird place, but like we don't know anything else about her, so I
Right.
can't say like if she is the cold-hearted bitch or
At the
just
very least,
has one of those
we're
faces.
supposed to be given that impression that she may be a cold-hearted bitch,
Yeah.
and I'm inclined to agree.
You think she is going to be one?
Yes, I feel like there's gonna be some drama going on in the radio
I don't know if the main character
station.
needs it is the thing.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, she already does a show at 3:30 in the morning. She already is like super crass and will probably like fuck herself over when it comes to having sponsors. And like she already has like shit life in general. Like she doesn't need more shit in her life to like make a compelling show. I can definitely see where the author may choose to do it anyways, just to thoroughly fuck over the character, just to give her like the most compelling material to work with and all of that. But like she doesn't need it realistically.
we also like her issues may actually not be part of the show either, or her show either, because from what
Mhm.
we saw in the first part, um, her show seemed to be about getting like drama stories from her like listeners, and then talking about them during like some weird plot thing that the producer created. Like in this
Right.
case, she was pretending to fight a bear while trying to read these like dramatic stories from from her fans, and then talking about them, basically saying, "Hey, this drama sucks. Fuck you. Hey,
Yeah.
you're cheating on your husband. Let me give you a verbal smackdown. You dumb bitch."
I mean, to be fair, that story was if you didn't really catch it behind the whole, I'm fighting a bear right now thing. The story of the I'm cheating on my husband was I'm cheating on my husband, but I feel bad about it, but I also feel good about it because the sex was good.
Yeah,
So give me a moral justification for continuing to do this was
yeah.
what that story was. So
Uh,
like I'm feeling her for why she was pissed off.
right. But like that's the type of stuff she wanted because it was juicy and good instead of I kind of smell sometimes.
Yeah.
That was one of the stories, right? Someone just
I
smelling.
think so.
Yeah.
There was a lot of you should go read this one sumo wrestler's blog
Yeah.
for I'm assuming like life advice.
There were couples where she would read half of it and then she just throw it away because she thought it was dumb.
Yeah. There was one that sounded like it straight up came from Sing Yesterday to Me, which was like, I confessed to my senpai and it didn't work out. Now I wish I could go back in time.
That was actually
Um,
just a subtle nod to a co-airing show.
yeah, I choose to believe that's true. But yeah, it was the first radio show was good. Her getting drunk was, her getting drunk and being a hot mess. But the second part of it, when she was actually doing like the live comm of the radio show, was fairly better. I have to be honest. I liked her sober more than I liked her drunk. Drunk ramblings and rarely compelling, in my opinion.
I think
Um,
that part was mostly to set up the fact that even like when she's drunk as fucking blackout, she can still talk without basically being me.
yeah, us
Yes.
fucking up words every 3 sentences. Yeah,
Yeah, she can actually like continue to talk. She's got the gift of gab.
yeah.
She kissed the Blarney Stone.
I kissed the Morning Stone.
What the fuck
I
happened
have a
with you?
very embarrassing. I don't know. I'm me. Yeah, there's a very embarrassing picture of me kissing the Blarney Stone when I was, I think, 11 years old, and my pants are like halfway off.
Yeah, because I've seen pictures of it. Like it's a very weird location. You have to like
Yeah,
fucking hang down and then like
yeah. It's like it's in this castle basically, like this old
yeah.
ass Irish castle, and like the rest of the castle is fucked up, and who gives a shit about it?
We should give
Because the
some
one
context real
relevant
quick.
part,
Yeah, the Blarney Stone is in this Irish castle, and it's said if you kiss it, you get the gift of gab, aka you get the gift of being able to talk and be charismatic.
yeah. And so like it's in the corner of this one really old Irish castle, and the rest of the castle is like who gives a shit? It's a tourist trap, and like there's like random like stands up all over the place to like go buy Blarney Stone crap. But like then it's all touristy. Like you're funneled in and you follow the path and wait in line. And you get to the corner of this castle, and where the Blarney Stone actually is, like it's not like a rock in the middle of a field.
It's actually a
It's in
stone
like
in the wall.
it's not just a stone in the wall. Like it's in like a parapet basically. So like one of the corner towers of the castle. And the way you kiss it is you have to lay down on your back, and there's like this crevice in the ground, and you lean backwards into this upwards into like the bottom of this rock because like it's on the bottom side of like the walkway, and it's like the most awkward fucking thing. And as I recall, like we went on a hot ass summer day. Like
Ooh.
no fucking liquid anywhere. It was 101 or something like that. Like it was blazing fucking hot. And I got up there and I just remember laying on my back and like leaning back into it and like stretching up to kiss the Blarney Stone. And as I kissed it, the only thought that went through my head is, Jesus fuck, this thing is wet.
Oh
Because it's been
no!
kissed like 9 million times that day already. And
Do
I'm
they
like,
not like? They
fuck.
should really clean that shit.
I mean, I don't know if they do now, but when I went in 2000
Probably
and
two. No, no, no. Not that.
oh no,
2005.
we would have been
6.
in fourth grade, starting fifth grade, I
Yeah. Oh
believe.
05, oh 06.
Yeah, so 506 was when I went to Ireland. Yeah, so in 2005, 2006, they weren't cleaning it, or at least the day that I went, they weren't cleaning it. It was still very wet.
That's disgusting.
Um, but yeah, it's a very awkward sort of thing to kiss. But yeah, there's a picture of me where, as I'm leaning back, I don't realize it because like there's also this bar you have to grab. Like there's this
Right, so you
metal
don't fucking
bar like in
fall.
the wall, so you don't fall into the crevice. Because like a human-sized crevice, like you could full on like as a small child, I could have fallen into that crevice, and I have no idea how far down it goes, but I could have busted my face open because you're leaning backwards into it, so you would go down head first. But so I'm holding onto the bar, leaning backwards, and like because you lay down on your back and then scooch into this thing, I guess like the friction of my pants on the stones like dragged my pants down my hips until like you could see like full on like my underwear and like the top of my fucking dong. It's a very awkward picture that's in a scrapbook in my house. And I'm like, why the fuck are we showing this to people? I mean, there's like a million pictures of me in those scrapbooks that I'm like, why the fuck are we showing this to people? There's
Ah.
a picture from after I was born where they gave me my circumcision, and they're like, "Yep, this is you." Right after we cut the skin off your dick, and I'm like, "Jesus fucking Christ! Why is this a picture? Why do we have a picture of this? It's just me as a baby with my fucking dick out."
Let's have a picture of the time we mutilated a kid.
Yeah, I'm like, "Thanks, parents. Thanks for commemorating this with like 4 photos." They're like, "Here's you before, and here's you during, and here's you after, next to the little piece of skin that used to be on your
Oh,
body."
look, you're crying.
And I'm like, great, awesome. I'm so glad I get to witness this. I'm glad I don't have memory of this, but you're showing me pictures now. But yeah, that's my weird fucked up parents and the fact that they take pictures of all sorts of shit. So I have photos of all of my life from up until I was like 16. My parents finally stopped doing that shit, as far as I know.
Anyways, that was Wade Listen to Me.
Yeah, that was way you listened to me. That's what we're talking about, not just the Blarney Stone.
She kissed the Blarney Stone. Um, so next episode, we're hoping for some radio shows.
Hmm.
Um, I think we got teased of a new character showing up. I think it's one of the chicks, probably one of our co-stars. So we'll see where that goes.
I do hope we get more of the assistant director as well. From the little that we saw of her in the very end of the third episode, she seems like an interesting character. I kind of like her.
Assistant director.
The girl that she's living with right now.
Oh yes, her. She was fun. At the end of the second episode, there during the little like promos, there's like a very sort of interesting conversation she has with our main character. Where our main character's like, "I'm gonna just eat you up," and she's like holding her.
Interesting.
I was waiting for that to happen in this episode, and it didn't happen. So I guess that was just like a promo joke. But we're not gonna get any surprise Yuri.
I
Maybe,
really doubt it.
maybe not yet.
Judging by the fact that so far this our main girl has been aggressively heterosexual, I would be surprised if we had surprise Yuri. I would be beyond shocked.
But yeah, that's Wave Listen to Me. And our last show is Sing Yesterday to Me. Yesterday wa utate? Whoa,
I believe
tate.
that's correct. Whoa, Tate.
Boop,
Um,
boop, doop.
which is sort of another show that begins in the middle of things, it feels. Because there's definitely been relevant details of things that have happened before, and there is the show that stretches in front of us, so
I wouldn't say it's in the middle of things, because like the story starts here. It's just that our characters have known about each other beforehand.
okay.
Right? That's what I
I
would.
mean, it definitely is like a. It's hard to say exactly
Right, because
because at
usually
the
like
same
at
time,
the
like
start
there
of
is definitely relevant. There's relevant details of like all of the characters' interactions with each other that have already happened.
well, at least for two groups of them, because Mitsuo and Haru haven't known about each other. Well, actually, no, you're right.
No, they have known
They
each other.
have. Well, they had one interaction. Um,
Yes, that she put a lot of stock in.
yeah, but Shinako and the other boy grew up together. and then
Hmm.
Shinako. Oh my god! Oh, actually, the only group that doesn't have actually anything to do with each other is the two boys.
It's true.
Now that they're actually supposed to say it out loud.
Yeah.
There we go. Um, Shinako and our main character were not colleagues. They were
College
college
friends.
friends. And Shinako was, I guess, a student teacher to Haru.
I guess so.
I don't understand how that whole thing
It
worked.
it is hard to say because in America she would have been a student teacher, I believe. You know more about this than me because of Dennis.
Yes.
Um, but I believe that she would have been a student teacher. Also, this is a thing that I thought of as I first started watching the show. They're both younger than us.
Yes. Shinako is 24 or 23.
Hmm.
I know for the fact our main character is 23.
Yeah, and Haru is 18 or 19.
18. She said so in episode 3.
Oh, good point. Yeah, she introduced herself.
And the other kid is, I think, just started high school or transferred into high school.
I kind of think he's a second year
Okay.
because she says he's supposed to be doing entrance exams, which I assume is college
Oh,
entrance exams, not high
okay.
school entrance exams. He's transferring into the high school. So I'm assuming he's a second year going on a third year, which would
Okay.
make him 17, I believe.
All right, that would make sense. But that's our main cast of characters
Hmm.
in this love drama that's going to start unfolding
Yep.
for us.
Every
Um,
year we get older and the characters stay the same age, and we've crossed the threshold now where more often than not characters are younger than us.
well, I mean, even, like for most of anime, it takes place in high school, so that was going to be the case anyways. This is
It's
like
true.
this and Wave Listen to Me are like one of the few shows where it's a predominantly adult cast.
Yeah.
Um, there's a couple, here and there, but they're all adults except
Mhm.
for that one kid and Haru, kind of. But I guess she's technically an
Yeah.
adult. Actually, in Japan, you're at 20, you're like actually an adult, where you can do like adult stuff, like rent
Really?
out cars and stuff. Yeah, because we've got
I
that
didn't
weird.
know that.
We've got, I guess,
That's
America.
what you judge as adult stuff?
No, like
We were...
we have like America's a weird tier system where like after 18 you can like buy cigarettes and shit, but you still can't buy
Uh-huh.
beer. And then after
Yep.
21 is where you can like get a car or rent a car.
Yep.
So there's like kind of weird things there. I guess the renting a car thing does make sense because 18 to 21-year-olds like get into accidents like fucking gangbusters.
I like that that's what you use as your breakdown of once you're 21 you can rent a car. You know, that classic thing that people think of on their 21st birthday.
No, well, here's the thing. Me and my coworkers always talked about like not renting a car, but the metric we always used was like, can you rent a car to your 21? It's really weird.
That's a very weird metric.
Anyways, um, yes, Haru, Shinako, and our main character. I don't remember. I don't remember this guy's name. What's the name, Nick?
Fuck if I remember. It's been
I'm gonna
two
call
full
him
days since I
Sato.
watched it.
Sato, Shinako, and Haru,
Sure.
and the other kid, Ryuji.
That sounds plausible.
Maybe I don't know. But yeah, and we follow the story of something.
Yeah.
As of right now, it's Haru trying to get into Ritsuo. That's his name, Ritsuo's pants.
Yes.
And Ritsuo trying to get into Shinako's pants.
Hmm.
And Shinako trying to
Kind
get
of.
into dead boyfriend's pants.
Yeah.
But they've all got their issues that they're dealing with. Our main character is kind of a layabout.
Hmm.
Is directionless. He doesn't really know what to do with his life right now. He's kind of working part time at a
Convenience store.
convenience store. Shinako's gotten a career. She's a teacher, and Haru's just kind of working at a bar slash
Hostess
cafe.
bar.
Yeah.
Well, she said that's the weird thing. She says hostess bar, but it's not. It's
So,
just not.
well, because she was lying. Because originally she said she's going to Tokyo U.
Hmm.
That she's a college student. She isn't in college. And the reason she
Correct.
says she's in a hostess bar is because she wants to act like she's older than she actually is. At least
I mean,
that's
maybe she,
what I
but
got
like
from
that's the thing. Like maybe she was working at a hostess bar before, because like that's the reason why she
it.
got to drop out of school was because she got caught.
Yeah.
But like if I don't know, because some Japanese high schools in things that I've seen slash read before have had those like you're not allowed to work rules at all, full stop.
No,
So
well,
like
you can get permission to, I think.
right, at
You
least you can
can
in
only
America.
only certain places.
Yeah, and like she works at a normal-ish facility. I mean, yeah, they serve alcohol at night, but like
She's
it's
not allowed to
still
work there.
yeah a fairly casual bar at that point. Like it's not anything crazy.
And her manager seems like a pretty chill lady.
Yeah.
We meet in the third episode, and she's pretty cool. Nice. She talks through her, talks to her, and talks her through her problems, as well as listening to her clients' issues too, as well. Because she does
Yeah.
that with yeah, she actually does that in the third episode extra scene with Mitsuo.
Oh, I didn't notice that in extra scenes.
Remember those extra scenes? Those are exclusive to whatever streaming platforms over in Japan
Oh, right.
because they fucking
That's
hate
why I
us.
haven't seen them.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it begins with
Our director was
Ritsuo,
Russo. Yep.
yeah, trying to get out of going to his 6 month reunion or 1 year reunion. The time frame of this show is somewhat vague to me. I kind of believe that there's a time skip between the first and the second episodes, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't
Um,
think so. Not a large
because
time skip, at least.
yeah,
Because
well,
at
because in
this
the
point,
first episode we meet Shinako again, and then in the second episode we have graduation. And I don't know if it just was already close to graduation and then
oh,
graduation
that
happens, so
part.
it makes sense.
Yeah, that fucking confused me, dude. You're right. Because I didn't know if this was like a flashback to some other graduation or it was currently going on. So I
Yeah.
was a little confused. Also, I was also extra confused because at the start of the show, I didn't believe that Haru was in college. I thought she was a high schooler, um, and just dropped out.
Uh-huh.
So I was trying to like kind of piece it all together, and I was confusing myself. But I
Ah,
guess there
okay.
was like a piece like where we kind of just skip over, like we meet Shinako, and then we skip over basically Ritsuo just his day-to-day life working at a convenience store with his friend who's trying to make it as a band.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and then she comes back, and that's where kind of the drama between or their relationship starts to get strained and things try to change.
Right.
Where he confesses to Shinako, but Shinako doesn't really see him in that way,
Yeah.
and it says, let's just try to stay friends. And I think that's the last. That's the end of the first episode. The second episode is him trying to be friends with her, and then coming to the conclusion that he can't, and basically tells her so.
Right.
And that's kind of where their relationship kind of ends ish.
Not.
Yep, and not. They kind of still kind of continue
Yeah.
being in each other's lives.
They do
Um,
the worst fucking thing of like, oh yeah, we have to stop being friends. We can't be friends anymore. The very next day, oh, you got sick? I'm going to come over to your house and feed you food. Oh, you also got sick? I'm now going to come over to your house and awkwardly sleep there during the night. Dude, what the actual fuck? I was rooting for this boy up until that third episode. This dude is a fuck.
I was wondering why he didn't go home.
Because this dude's a fuck. This dude literally ended the second episode with like, "Oh, I can't be friends with you anymore. It's too hard," and then sleeps in her fucking kitchen at her awkward ass kitchen table rather than going home the day before he has a date that he was clearly thinking about. Like he knew that he had a date the next day and was like, "Huh, got that date tomorrow. Better go sleep at that kitchen table so I don't wake up in time." Jesus, what a fucking fuckhead.
Please, Dick. This is the era before cell phones.
Yeah.
This is still possible then. I guess we should mention this takes place in 1990,
Yeah.
late 1990s.
So we have in the background of their awkward friendship, not friendship, we also have Haru trying to win over Ritsuo's dick and possibly later his actual heart. Because she is,
And she declares war on the teacher, even though the teacher's not having any of it.
yeah. But I mean, her logic is basically, I don't want to be a consolation prize. I want to have an earnest fight to win his heart. I want to earn it. I don't just want to be given it because you've given up. Like, you're not trying. Which, I kind of feel.
Although, like, as of right now, Shinako's not trying. She's not trying, right? Like, she doesn't like him, so like, why would she try?
I mean, yeah, but it's more of like the spirit of things. Like
Yeah.
Haru, like as she said, she doesn't want to just be second place consolation prize, basically, of like, oh, I couldn't get Shinako and you're throwing yourself at me, so I may as well, hook up with you and get married to you and all of that. Like,
I thought you
it's
said
sort of
gay
an
married
awkward
you.
thing to end up in. So like, Haru doesn't want that. Haru wants to be like, I want him to choose to be with me, not just end up with me because you refuse to do anything.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so Haru has her own sort of weirdness going on with her family, and that she used to have a dad, but now he's not around, and she goes back to see her mom and her new character, which I assume is boyfriend of the
Yes,
moment.
that's what I took from his. That's just her boyfriend.
That's her boyfriend of the
and
month.
her ex-teacher.
Oh, was that her ex teacher?
Yeah, Haru's ex-teacher, not her mom's.
Yeah, I hope so. Um, I skipped over what their connection to each other was because you couldn't see his face, and so you knew he was an irrelevant character.
Yeah, basically what we had to gather from that scene was that either A, the parents are divorced, which I think is the most likely situation, or that
Hmm.
B, her dad's dead.
Yeah.
I think her parents being divorced makes more sense to the story because she does like ponder a lot about love,
Hmm.
and that would kind of make a good backstory to her. You know, what is love? My parents didn't find love or happiness.
Right.
That standard trope. So
Yes.
that's why I think that'll happen. We also have the backstory of Shinako, who was taking care of her of this guy she really liked, but has an illness and ends up dying, and she can't get over that memory. Can't get over the fact that they were never together, and that her only love in her current life has died.
Right.
And now she just takes care of his younger brother, who may or may not like her. I don't know what the fuck's going on with the younger brother.
Yeah. I was pretty convinced when we first saw the younger kid. I was like, oh, cool. She's hooking up with a 17-year-old. Awesome.
See, that's what I thought too. I'm like, wait a minute, this might be a red herring. And then I was right at the very last second.
I pretty much was convinced that, at the very least, I'm still convinced that
I
the
don't want
high
this to
school
be
kid.
a storyline. I really don't.
I'm convinced that the high school kid has a thing for her. I don't know if they are going to end up in a relationship or not, but I'm pretty convinced that the high school kid has a thing for her.
At the very least, I know if I don't think that's going to be a thing. It's going to end up like his story is going to be basically having to face rejection and being okay with it,
Hmm.
because our teacher character Shinako probably just sees him as a younger brother.
Yeah. Well, it feels very much like his. Maybe this is just me like trying to create a story before we see it,
Yeah,
but I felt like it was a very much a the younger brother, acknowledge that you, Shinako, are still in love with the spirit of my older brother. So I will take over like the mantle of that spirit and become basically what my older brother was to you, sort of thing.
yeah.
Like I'm the next best thing as the blood relative of the person you were in love with and haven't gotten over in 6 years. So I will become,
I am
the
become my
thing for
brother.
you. Exactly. Yeah.
I
Uh,
want the story to be more that he's just very protective of her because he sees her as an older sister and like there's nothing weird going on between them.
right.
But I would accept him having a thing for her. I don't want it to go crossways.
I can respect that.
But we'll see what happens.
Um, yes. Mostly, I want Ritsuo to pull his head out of his ass. Like, 100% just remove his head from his own rectum. Because, Christ, this kid wakes up fucking an hour and a half late or something like that,
Oh,
or
dude, it's
two
like
and a
two
half
hours.
hours
Oh, yeah,
late.
it's fucking. It's a
And
long
just,
time.
Christ on a crutch, this kid is an idiot. And then he shows up at the movie theater, doesn't know her phone number, goes home, sees her sitting on his front steps, and when she's finally like, "So where were you?" He's like, "So, let me tell you all about it.
at
I was
least,
at my not ex-girlfriend's apartment last night."
at least he makes it clear that they didn't sleep together.
That is not an at least. I mean, just 100%, just fucking an idiot. Honestly, at that point, admitting you overslept is better than admitting to where you were. There isn't a world where telling the truth there is good.
And the show says so as well, where our Haru says, sometimes you can tell a lie too, and she
Yeah.
runs away. And their relationship is strained for a little bit, and then kind of gets fixed at the end, where they have a little lovers crossing thing, where she's on her little moped and he's buying a coffee at a random vending machine, and he stops her in the middle of traffic because that's totally what you should do, and not just fucking pull over.
I mean, to be fair, the car behind them honks at them, and as the light is reading, he's like, "Dude, get the fuck out of the way."
Yeah, and then then the car just fucking goes around them.
Yeah, they do then wheel off to the side, I think, because in the next shot, like he's standing on the
Yeah,
pavement, and she's in like some sort of parking type deal.
I think like a
So they do actually
bicycle
then
lane.
get out of the way. Yeah,
Eventually, they
a
decide to
moped
not be
lane.
fucks.
But then they have a little like heart to heart of, "Hey, I'm willing to give this a shot. I'm sorry for being a dickhead," and she finally like decides to get rid of her. I'm the mysterious
Mysterious girl.
Haru.
Yeah.
She introduces herself fully and tells him all about her and her details. So now we have the beginning of what's probably going to be a fucked up relationship as he continues to lust after Shinako because this kid is a fuck. I have zero faith in this kid. Because I mean, for carrying around a crush for however long he had it in college, plus the year or so that they were apart, year or 6 months or however long it was,
I think it was 2 years.
uh, or 2 years. Um, for however long he was carrying this crush for, like fucking the answer was the answer the whole time is the reality of it. This is also life advice in general. The answer is the answer, whatever it's going to be, good or bad. Like he took him, let's say, 3 to 4 years to find out that the answer was always going to be no. I get it, it hurts, but like at a certain point, you just gotta fucking rip the band-aid off, dude. Like this kid is fucking. As I was watching him get rejected, I was like, in my head, I'm going, all right, this is gonna go one of two ways. Either it's gonna go the way that I hope, in that he's going to mope, feel his feelings, and then get over it, and like deal with his, deal with his shit. Or the more likely thing, because this is an anime show about a depressed dude, he's just gonna fucking whinge about this for the next like 5 fucking episodes. Like at some point, you gotta get over it. You gotta accept like this is just the way the world works.
Right.
This is just my new reality, and it's time to. I've felt my feelings, and it's time to move on.
But I think that's going to be like the theme of the show, and that's why we have this character currently, because that's what he's got to learn, or one of them. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
I mean, but right now they're sitting in this like awkward liminal thing. Like they did an okay job with the whole like, all right, we can't be friends anymore. Like I've got to get over you. We can't be friends anymore. And I was like, okay, don't be friends anymore. I can understand that. Like sometimes you just can't do it. I respect that. Fucking the very next episode, we just don't even hold true to that. Like if you're not friends anymore, you don't go over to each other's houses to like care for each other when you're sick. That's not something that not friends do. So
Would
it's a
you
very like
would,
awkward position to be in
would
with
you
these
have
two
liked him
people.
more if he hadn't gone to her house?
Yes.
Because
If
I
he hadn't gone to her house, yeah, I would have liked him more.
because I could understand Shinako trying to keep a friendship going.
Honestly, what I really would have liked is, and this is a very human reaction that I've had to have before. So this may be just pulling from my life. But the very first time when he was sick and he opened the door and saw Shinako with like the extra food, if he had said something to the effect of, "Look, I appreciate it, but you have to leave. Like you can't do this," it would have been a better. It would have just been a better reaction to hold strong to like that we can't be friends. Like you can't show up at my house just because you think I'm sick. This is not something that people who aren't friends do for each other. You have to leave right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because like as it is, it's just not fucking healthy. Is what it is. Like it's not healthy to be in this awkward liminal state of like we have feelings for each other and we can't be friends, but we're still gonna like take care of each other when we're sick and do all these things for each other and shit like that. And like I'm sure this is gonna be a continuing trend. Like I'm sure they're gonna do something for each other in the next episode, or like somehow still be characters interact with each other. Like they either needed to full reset or like you just can't. It's just an awkward position for them to be in, and I think that's going to be part of the reason why this is going to be a show. And
Yeah,
this
there
is
has to be
something that like
conflict.
right. It has to be. It's the disconnect between like what I want and what's the healthy thing in reality and what
And
makes a
what
good
makes a good
television
story?
show. Yeah, is I think the ultimate lesson is that's going to be learned at the end of this
Right, you got to
is,
move on.
as you mentioned earlier, is you have to move on. Like at some point, one of them is going to realize this isn't healthy. What we're doing isn't healthy. It's going to take them 10 or 11 episodes to get there, but I'm assuming they will get there at some point. That they're just bringing each other down.
We can
They're
only
like,
hope they do it in a way that doesn't make us angry. And I don't,
mhm,
well, at least for me, they're not making me that angry. Like I understand they're making bad decisions,
yeah,
but that's because it's a show and it has to be some like form of conflict. And the form
right.
of conflict they're having in this show is all because like they can't like it's their own character flaws. It's not because of something is happening to them,
Uh huh.
and that's why I'm liking it.
I would definitely agree. It is a good show. It's just one of those like it's that disconnect between reality and
Yeah,
like what's good in reality and like you said, what's good for a story. And so I think for the characters as they are now, it's interesting. He is Ritsuo is very it's not nihilistic, but he's got a very like, bleak
pessimistic.
take on reality. Yeah, he's very pessimistic
Uh, uh,
about
uh,
things. Um So he's a little bit of like a downer to listen to for a very long time.
Right, he's very much like Sato from Welcome to NHK,
Yeah.
except without the super depression.
Yeah. Without literally everything screwing him over. Um, because didn't Sato almost commit suicide during one of those episodes?
I think it was the third episode.
Yeah.
The third episode was
Almost
commit suicide.
almost
Um,
jumps off a cliff after everyone else
oh
pussies out
no,
of
that
jumping off the
was
cliff.
episode 10ish. I think that was a little halfway through. That was after they played the video game.
Okay.
Um, and like I also thought Misaki, the girl from Welcome to NHK, and Haru share some similar things, except Haru is more of a grounded character than Misaki's fucking craziness.
Yeah.
Fun fact: in the manga, I don't know. Remember if this is super correct, but there's a psychologist character, who's the husband of Sato's senpai.
Uh-huh.
He basically outright says that girl has a personality disorder. Full stop. She gets
Interesting.
diagnosed.
Wow. That's very cool.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you like Welcome to NHK, chances are I think you'll like Sing Yesterday to Me.
Uh-huh.
And whether or not the song Yesterday comes into play is still a mystery because right now, like, music has had a very
Right.
kind of backseat because you've got a
Yes.
band member, but that's
He's
about
a
it.
punk band.
He's a punk band, and he's also not part of the main cast.
Yeah.
So I'm like wondering, like, where is this coming from? Maybe it's just because the song Yesterday kind of inspired the story.
I mean, I have to assume so. I remember when I first made the connection, or you first made the connection, whoever it was,
Something
and we like looked at the lyrics to Yesterday. We decided like it sort of made sense in some way.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's definitely not a. It's not something that I expect to come up because we have the one band member who's in a punk band, which is very different than the Beatles and the song Yesterday. And other than that, like we don't have any other way in which like I feel like music is going to be a huge part of the show. So maybe it will come up, but I'm kind of I'd be kind of surprised if it did come up in a very serious way.
From what I saw, there's a comment on Reddit. I don't remember the user, but he mentioned that the way Haru dressed was very in vogue in the late '90s for like the grunge punk scene in Japan.
Oh,
So she might be
interesting.
part of that subculture as well.
Uh-huh.
And just because our band member's in a punk band doesn't mean he doesn't like other music. So he might talk about the Beatles or something at some point to our main character, and that might be a source of inspiration for him to make a choice. Maybe that's
Early '90s punk musician talking about other music. What do you think this is, Brandon? Pop punk? Get the fuck out of here.
But we'll see something like that. Well, we will see if that happens. Yeah. Anyways, of all the three shows, I'm liking all of them.
I think they're all really
fucking
good.
listeners. Part of mine super colorful and crazy.
Hmm.
Way Listen to Me. I just the charisma of the main character is just so enchanting.
Yep,
Um,
definitely.
and yes, Suggestion to Me just seems interesting. Like I'm hooked. I want to know what happens. I like the characters. I
Yeah,
may not like them as people, but I like them as characters.
right.
I
Their
kind of
dynamic is compelling,
yeah. So we'll see what happens with all of them.
but it is certainly a show where, like, if any of them are, I feel like Sing Yesterday to Me is like the most like on a knife's edge of like it could be
Yeah.
really good or it could just throw it all
I
away.
feel like drama is very iffy.
Yeah,
Like it's very hard to do good drama really well.
right.
And
And it's
really,
hard to keep it going.
yeah, it's really easy to fuck it all up with like one really bad decision that just completely fucks over a character.
Right.
Like if Shanako, like next episode, just mounts Ritsuo just out of nowhere, I'd be a little pissed off.
I definitely would
For
too.
like no fucking reason. Save that for the 10th episode. When it's been built up.
I mean, if anything, I would have expected to be like a grief bang of like, oh, the only person I ever loved is dead. Have sex with me.
Here, put on this blue wig.
But now that we already know that like her whole backstory, it would feel a little bit like weird now. Like it would definitely be more of a like I would expect Ritsuo to be able to recognize like you're not begging me, you're begging the spirit of your dead boyfriend through my body.
Well, not
or
even a
through
boyfriend.
My dick.
She never confessed.
And she didn't. She's been holding on to this for 6 years, but people grieve in different ways. It
Yeah.
is,
That is the point
So,
of
as I
the
was like-
story.
yeah. She's been holding on to this for 6 or 7 years, but people grieve in different ways.
But yeah, that's the shows. What's your take on all the shows?
Um, like I said, I think Sing Yesterday to Me is very much on a knife's edge. It could be really good, or it could throw it all away. It's the danger of specifically the medium of manga, where like you sort of are compelled to continue to sell
Yeah,
volumes
it's
and
the
continue to sell
serialization
chapters of things that
aspect,
work. Yeah, which sort of makes it awkward sometimes for like ending the story in a position where the author is happy with their work.
and
Can be
or
difficult.
not being told to like extend the story for some reason. That's really when things sort of
Yeah.
shit the bed. Is when
It's
you have to
it's when you have to
artificially,
either extend the story
yeah,
or awkwardly cut it short.
yeah, either or,
Because there are plenty of stories that I've read where, they run out of serialization, like My Ball, where
or
it ran out of serialization and just
Bleach.
had to stop the story. Or Bleach also. Um, and so like you don't always get a ending the author is satisfied with, which I think is, or maybe not satisfied with. It's not the ending the author ideally would
Envisioned.
have wanted. Yeah. Which I think is the danger of the medium. But that is my opinions of Seeing Yesterday to Me with Para Ramon. It is very colorful. It is.
Oh, something else I
I
forgot to
mentioned
talk
at the
about.
beginning. What?
The music. The music is so fucking great. Like
In
it
Para
actually,
Ramon?
yeah,
It's
it
very good.
actually uses like period music.
Hmm.
The composer is an American called named Evan Call, and he's done
Oh, okay.
other anime as well. Like, did you know? Did you hear like the jazz music and like the vaudeville piano music at certain times?
Yeah,
Yeah, I fucking love that. It was
it was
like
really good.
hilarious. That was just a quick little snippet of me. Go ahead with
Okay.
what you're saying.
Um, it is very much a show which I think in the long term is going to be
The,
decided
okay,
by how well it does this race and like what the
what the stakes are?
premise, like what the plot is to the race. Because we kind of know the stakes of like he wants to get home to his family, and some of the other characters will probably learn more about like their backstory and why they're racing as time goes on. But like, what actually is going to go on in the race? Because
My
like it can't just be they drive cars across America. Like there has
right.
to be
There's
more to
gonna
the
be a
story than that.
mystery, I think.
Yeah, and like there has to be face-to-face interactions with the other drivers. It may be like a Gundam thing where like first we beat the shit out of each other's cars and we get out of the cars to beat the shit out of each other in person,
We're just gonna
and then
just
get
sprint
back
to
in
the
the
end.
car. Yeah, it's actually going to be the end of Talladega Nights. They crash the cars and have to do like a sprint across the finish line. Um, but yeah, it's very much going to be dependent on like how the rest of the plot is structured once the race begins, and on the cars themselves. If it is, a lot of time spent in the cars. So I think we'll see as time goes on how much the CG cars start to weigh on me. Because like those are the things that we're here for, is the cars, as far as we know right now, and they're all CG, which is a little bit disappointing. Um, but ideally, they will get out of the cars and actually interact with each other and do some shit.
We
I'm
have to
sure
see the
that as we,
swagwa at some point.
it's true. So I'm sure as we get into like the Wild Wild West sort of thing, we'll get some classic like banditos who will show up with the classic like handkerchiefs over the mouths and the six shooters. So I'm sure there's plenty in store for this show, for what's going to happen and reasons to get out of the cars and actually interact with each other. But
Well,
I do think there is the potential for it to sort of become a like too dependent on CG for a lot of the scenes once the race
a bland
begins.
show as well, where it's
Yeah.
literally just the race.
Yes.
Um, th- so in the Bandito thing, there is a character I think is Mexican and is kind of very stout, and I think is a robot.
Right. Yeah. There's a two-man team of the short fat guy and the tall skinny robot thing.
I was hoping for a guy with a mustache and a wolf. Make it really make
Very
it
like classic
wacky
like
races. Yep.
trapper man.
No, wacky races.
Oh, okay.
Oh god, what are their names? I forgot who they are, but yeah, it's the really short guy with the little mustache and his pet dog, and they're always doing like crazy shenanigans to win the race, and they always fuck it up.
Mhm.
Anyways, sorry.
No, it's fine. And the final show we have is Wave Listen to Me, which I think is going to be a good show. I think once the radio show begins, it will have like a firmer grasp on.
Its premise
Hopefully,
and
it'll have a
its
firm, yeah, its premise and it's the jokes and the direction of it will be a little bit better as like they set up things for the radio shows that she's going to talk about or complain about, and the interactions with the different customers and the interactions with the other characters in her life once she becomes somebody that like has a radio show that people like and enjoy and like is in a position of sort of respect. So I think it's something that as time goes on, things will get better and like not for her obviously, but as a show,
never for her.
no. her life is going to be a hot mess forever. But I think as a show, direction wise, it will get clearer as time goes on. And seeing as how we're going to hopefully start the radio show soon, I have a lot of interest in it in the next couple episodes. It is also something where I have a vague fear in the back of my mind that like first we have to go hunting for a sponsor, and then we're going to have to do something else, and then we're going to do something else, and it's not until like episode 7 that we finally get on the air, where I'm like, I just don't know how much it can survive not getting to like the actual radio show part of it before it just sort of becomes like a show of like, just get to the fucking point, man. Like, you showed us in the first episode why we were here. That was your hook. You knew why we came to the show was for this character and her like very charismatic, voice and what she wants to complain about and all that stuff. If it takes 7 episodes to get there, I'm gonna be mildly miffed.
Okay, so the next couple episodes for most of these shows, well, for a part, for a way to listen to me is make or break. For a part around Mon, it could still fuck it up at the end. Same thing with Sing Yesterday to Me,
Yeah,
which is
I
also kind
think
of true it's
in
true for
terms
most
of
shows.
plot,
Yeah,
it's Way of Listen to Me, like most of all in the next couple episodes that is crucial.
because it's got
It's
to get to the
Sing
point.
Yesterday to Me in the long term, and a part of Ramon is purely just like a visual thing. Plus, it basically just has to have a plot. As long as it looks good and has a plot once the race begins, I'm happy.
Okay.
Like the characters are pretty good. It's very colorful. It's very fun. It's interesting. All the characters are varied. I think as long as it has a plot and stuff for them to do once they start the race, I'll be reasonably happy with it.
Okay. By the way, I was thinking of the characters Dick Dastardly and Muttley.
Ah, okay. Is his name really Dick Dastardly?
Yes, there was also a character named Penelope Pitstop.
Did he dress in all purple?
Dick Dastardly?
Yeah.
Yes. He
Okay.
also was not short. He was tall. The dog was short. I'm must have been confusing
Okay.
with the different characters because Hanna-Barbera back then reused fucking everything.
Yes.
But that's not that's American animation, not Japanese animation. That was the episode. It's
That
over.
was all 3 of the things that we plan to talk about. Is there anything else you want to talk about from stuff you watched?
Kakushi
Share
Goto
with us.
is an incredibly interesting comedy, which might destroy me inside. Well, it will be destroying me inside because I'm pretty sure that Dead's dead. So I have that to look forward to. They're gonna get a dog at some point. It's also going to die. Digimon decided to just start going and never let its foot off the pedal. And it's been fucking great. What would you like to sell out to today, Nick? That's all I have. Oh, do you want to talk about the Otome Kai game?
Yeah, sure. It's very strange, odd as a show to watch because I've read it and read the spin-off, so like I know the plot already. And like watching it is some of the backgrounds are a little bit like weird, and seeing them as kids, like their proportions just don't look right. Having to see child characters, like they're all 6 or 7, I think, years old in the first 3 episodes of the show. Like they just don't. They look very awkwardly proportioned, which I mean, children are sort of awkwardly proportioned, so it
Got
makes
big
sense.
ass
But like,
heads.
yeah, watching them move around is like just a little bit weird because like their limbs are just too short for what their body says they're doing and like the motion that they have. But a lot of the backgrounds are not. Saying drawn in feels weird in animation where it's mostly hand drawn, but it has a different aesthetic of drawn in. Like it's drawn in a way that makes it more obviously drawn in than anything else that's
Oh,
drawn.
I think I see what you mean.
Um,
So like the
and there are
characters
certain
pop
elements.
out,
Yeah, kind of.
but like it doesn't meld. It doesn't meld well, or it just.
It's not that it
looks
doesn't
weird.
meld well; it just looks different.
Okay.
Because they do it a lot with like flowers and gardens and stuff like that. So like if there's like a very like vibrant garden, it'll be done in that style of like sort of weird different color things. Like it definitely stands out in the background rather than like blending into the rest of the landscape.
Okay.
Which I mean maybe the effect that they're going for is like a garden that's vibrant and pops sort
Right,
of
the
thing.
flowers.
Yeah. But it definitely is like it just stands out at times. So through the first 3 episodes, like there's just bits and pieces of like watching it that's a little bit weird. And then at the very end of the 3rd episode, they had all of the characters get older and none of their voices changed, which was very upsetting.
Oh my god, that reminds me. It, uh, are they still like really high pitched? Was that why? Or
Yeah.
oh, what the fuck? Because this one has the exact opposite thing. They all sound like they're fucking adults.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like For our main character Tai. Do you remember Naruto's voice?
Uh-huh.
Do you remember his younger voice?
Yes.
Do you remember his older voice? Did it kind of sound like
Yes. Yeah,
so?
they sound yeah.
For Tai, who is in fifth grade, he's a 10-year-old. He's got older Naruto's voice for some reason.
Oh, weird.
And then like you know how a lot of characters in anime will sound like a lot of girl characters in anime will sound very high pitched.
Uh-huh.
One of the girl characters, Sora, she just sounds like she's like 16 or 15 or something like that, and she's supposed to be 10, and it's just really weird
That's
because
really
the
bizarre.
only characters that have high pitched voices are the characters who are 1 year younger than the rest of the cast. There's like a huge discrepancy. I don't get it, but you know, it's better than hearing high pitched voices. Honestly, I kind of like it. I'm not a fan of super high pitched voices.
As I recall from the Otome game, some of the characters, the male characters' voices get deeper.
Okay.
All of the female characters have the same voices from when they were 6 years old,
Oh, that's annoying.
which is very weird. Um, but yeah, so it is a very good show. I like it. It's very shoujo-y. I mean, that is the
But it is a
intended
shojo.
demographic
Yeah.
for it. Um, I mostly just really enjoy it. It's an interesting sort of, it's an interesting take on a harem
It's a
because it's a reverse
it's
harem,
a
which also includes a Yuri element, which I appreciate.
okay.
So I really enjoy it as a story.
Once again, back to voices. Shout out to the voice actors for Kaguya, who fucking killed it last episode, as well as the voice actress for Minare, our main character from Wave Listen to Me, who twists and turns her voice in fucking crazy ways. The show would not have been nearly as interesting had our talent not like been able to knock it out of the park for a character like her.
It's true.
But
They do have the benefit of being able to do multiple
yeah,
takes. But even still, she did do a phenomenal job.
yeah, like even if it's multiple takes, like it sounds like it's just one like full take for those like 2 minutes where she's just fucking talking at light speed.
Right.
But anyways, that's a quick shout out. What would you like to sell out to today, Nick? That sounded like
Um,
complete gibberish.
it did sort of. I am tempted to sell out to Keebler's Definitely Not Samoa's cookies
Yeah.
as eating Girl Scout cookies because for some reason,
I
so this
love
is something I'm going to
Keebler's.
complain. They're really good, but I'm going to complain now instead of sell out to something, and then I'll sell it to something after I complain. For some reason, my parents always buy Girl Scout cookies every March because my dad is a 50-year-old man who cannot say no to an 8-year-old child when they come and knock on our door with a sad face. So every time they come around, my dad spends $20 on Girl Scout cookies. And so every spring break when I come home, because I'm still in college at the age of 24, 25, fuck. Um,
Man, you're 25.
yeah, I'm 25. I'm almost 26. But anyways, every time when I come home, they've got a whole bunch of Girl Scout cookies, and I take them with me. So I always bring home 4 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, or I bring back to wherever I'm living 4 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. And for some fucking reason, my parents believe that my favorite cookie is Dositos. So this, like when I went back, I had 2 boxes of Dositos, or 3 boxes of Dositos, 1 box of fuck, what are they called? Tagalongs, I think,
I don't know
which
what those
are
are.
so the ones they have 3. I may be mixing up the names, but the ones they buy 3 of are like the chocolate peanut butter cookies, and then they have like their shortbread peanut butter cookies, which they bought 1 box of, and then 1 box of Samoas, which are clearly the best Girl Scout cookie. So I only had 1 box of Samoas, the best Girl Scout cookie in existence. So after my Girl Scout cookie rations ran out, like a couple days ago, I had to go out to my grocery store and I exclusively bought a bag of chips so I could disguise the fact that what I was actually there for were 2 boxes of Keebler's Definitely Not Samoas. Because they are the greatest thing in existence because it's Samoas that you can buy all year round. So they taste identical to Samoas. They're called Coconut Dreams. They're the best thing in existence. But that's not what I'm selling out to today. Because I've already sold out to Samoas and I feel weird selling out to Samoas in a different skin sold by Keebler. So instead, this week I'm going to sell out to, fuck, what am I going to sell out to? I will sell out to, I don't really have anything good prepared for this week, unfortunately. I guess I'll have to sell out to, the Getty Museum. No, I'll sell it to Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, fuck you!
and I watched it before Brandon,
God
so
damn it!
I get to sell out to it because I told Brandon to watch it.
Son of a bitch!
I thought of it.
I almost wrote it down. Ah!
Yes, I watched Cabin in the Woods first this week, and therefore I get sellout rights to it. I don't feel guilty about this one because I did honestly watch it first. But I watched Cabin in the Woods this week. It is a older movie, and so I'm sure if you're a fan of the horror genre, you've heard of it and have probably seen it, but perhaps you haven't because Brandon had it either, and he is also a fan of the horror genre, and he can attest it is a good movie. It is I described it as a deconstruction of the horror genre, and I think it's really good. I think it's really well done. It's very interesting, and it's both in the pure horror component of the first half of the movie and in like the creepy bunker, sciencey shit that happens in the second half of the movie. I think it's a really interesting movie, all in all. And I would recommend it even if you're not a fan of the horror genre, because honestly, I'm not a particularly huge fan of the horror genre, and I still really enjoyed it as a movie. So I will give my shout out to The Cabin in the Woods this week.
All right, well, I'm gonna sell it to. Yeah, I could also test it. Cabin in the Woods was a really fun movie. I really liked it. I'm gonna sell it to Scrubs. It's a funny show from the started 2000, airing 2002, I think, all the way to 2009 ish.
Really, 2002?
It's a very old show. Yes.
Wow.
Recently, the main characters, the actors Donald Faison and Zach Braff, are doing a kind of a rewatch of the entire show and have a podcast about it called Fake Doctors, Real Friends, or Real Friends, Fake Doctors. I don't remember. And they're just kind of talking about it and talking about the production process that happened during the filming of the show and kind of different anecdotes. But I'm actually selling out to it today because aspects of Minare from Wait, Listen to Me kind of remind me of JD and his weird, fantastical fantasies that he has throughout the show. And also I'm rewatching it because I got bored. So, there's that.
We all have to find little ways to get through the day in the quarantine.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Several more days of our lives.
That was the episode.
Yeah.
I wish I talked like Minare, but I can't, so whatever.
It's true. We've been doing this for nearly 100 episodes, and we still do not have the ability to string together 5 coherent sentences. But you're still not here, our lovely audience. 0 of you. But then again, we don't market ourselves in any way, so it's more on us than on you.
We have a Twitter account.
If at some point, we do have a Twitter account. We don't use it, and we're subscribed only to Japanese people who speak in Japanese, so we can't actually read anything on our Twitter account. We have one.
We're also subscribed to Wannabes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. But yeah, so if at some point there ever is an audience and you decide to go back in time and listen to old episodes for some god-awful reason.
Why would you do that?
I don't know why you're here, but I guess thanks for existing at some point. Maybe someday we'll market ourselves, but probably not.
Please, I'm not a dinosaur whore.